So fuck yes. Welcome to After the Hype Media. The host is Brian Dressel. With me as always, Jonathan Hartsey, CHEWIE Darso, and Emily Blake.
Hi.
Whew. I'm gonna get that down to like one word at some point.
And every week I just fucking laugh. I can't not laugh.
It doesn't get not funny.
Really, the big joy I take out of it is just interrupting John. It's just like my favorite thing to do.
Oh, bring the humor.
Yeah. Special guest today, we have Mari back. Hi, Mari.
Hi.
Mari is on for our second week of guest choices for our Halloween month. And what did you pick?
American Werewolf in London.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Originally, when this month came up, it was Chewie's idea to invite you on because you don't like watching horror movies. And I told you I'd let you pick whatever one you wanted to watch. And that sparred the whole month.
Oh.
Yeah, how do you like that?
I inspired a theme.
You sure did.
But I also think that's important. If you're going to have someone on that doesn't like horror movies, you have to let them choose. Because if you were like, come and watch this horrible slasher, I would have just been like, no.
No, I'm busy.
I don't need the nightmares.
I don't really like slashers.
What are podcasts even? I don't even.
All right, do you guys want to do a quick where have you been doing? Cool, I'll go first. I watched Last Girl Standing today, actually. It is a very low-budget horror movie with an excellent premise that's executed okay. It's about what happens to the girl after she is the final girl. So it is all like how she's trying to adapt to life after.
That is a great premise.
It's a great premise. Executed, meh. Okay.
When did it come out?
2015.
Okay.
Yeah, the budget's super low. The acting is okay. It's just a lot of like, they tried. John, what about you?
I finally got Cuphead and started playing that. It's amazing. I love the art style. It's super difficult though, which is funny because I was talking to Craig from Front Row and trying to convince him how easy it was. And that first section is pretty easy, and then the game does a giant fuck you at the second stage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Craig is the worst at video games, so I'm hoping he's listening because he's going, yep, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, after I said that, I was like, oh, this is so easy. I got to the second stage, the second world, and I was like, it took me, what was it, like an hour and a half, 2 hours to beat one boss? And it is difficult.
Is it controller shattering difficult? Like Dark Souls?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not buying it.
And the game's not that expensive, so it's...
What is it, 30?
30, yeah.
Okay.
And...
well, I'll do my where have I been doing.
Oh, okay.
All my shows are back, guys. My programs. I mean, not all of them.
Your
Some of them got
programs.
canceled. Caught up with Goldbergs, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I even caught up with The Good Place, which I was kind of getting like bored with at the end of the last season. Even with the twist, I was just like, all right. But the second episode of this season for The Good Place was really funny.
Yeah.
Like, they did a great job with that. Brian and I were just, the moment they made the joke of Jason figured it out this time.
Did you watch last night's?
I did not.
The most recent?
I need to watch it.
Yeah, Jason gets the best moments just because he's just you can tell that actor is just having the best time just playing an idiot.
I hope he's one of those like super intelligent actors that just is so fantastic at playing a dumbass.
Or he's the dumbest person alive.
Well, what I really appreciate about the episode that you just watched, that's the same, I'm still one behind too, was that like that whole montage, they could have made that the whole season, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that just deeply, but also if there was any moment of it that they could have made a whole standalone episode about, it would be the Eleanor, this is your soulmate Tahani.
I was very interested in that one, I
Yeah.
won't lie. But I also like the one where she got a golden retriever.
Emily, what about you?
Let's talk Star Trek Discovery.
Let's talk, we haven't paid for a subscription.
Yeah.
well-
Maybe we will, I don't know.
Well, it's I really I'm not one of those like I love Star Trek. I just finally finished all of Star Trek this week, by the way, everybody. I watched the last episode of Voyager, which means I've seen every episode of Star Trek live action that has ever been made.
Dang.
In chronological order,
I never
including
finished
the movies.
Enterprise. Otherwise, I could
I
almost say the
I
same
have speeches
thing.
about why Enterprise is great and people should respect it more. Anyway, but like I won't put everybody through that right now.
Thanks.
I guess.
No, there's a question mark.
Season 3, man.
Okay.
Season 3 is everything. Okay, so I love Star Trek in all its forms, and I really love the JJ version, and I know there's a lot of people who hate on, like, change, because nerds. But I really
We fear change.
I really am enjoying. I like dark modern takes on things, and so I like that. First of all, it's such a diverse world. In every episode, they just like pack it with people who look different, and not everybody is the same old white dudes. And it's in the spirit of Star Trek, but like taken even further. There's one scene in this most recent episode that was all women, and there was like one guy, but he didn't have any lines. And it was like, well, almost all women. Sorry, there was one guy with lines, but it was like there were like 3 women in the scene, and 2 of them were stone cold badasses. So I really like that aspect of it. I like the modern. I don't love the Klingons. They just look weird, and they take too long to get through sentences.
You're gonna have to tell me later why they look the way they look, because I haven't.
They're just modernized.
I thought they explained that.
I haven't heard an explanation.
Do they look like the Abrams Klingons or
no? They're totally different.
They don't. Yeah.
I mean, they're more in that direction. At least that's my impression. But yeah, but it's also like the sounds the ship makes, some of the coloring and all that other stuff. It's modernized. It's they are not going to be pigeonholed by the fact that they're a prequel. Otherwise, everything would look, because it was made on $2.
No, I understand that.
So yeah. But that's what I like about it. I like that they just said, fuck it, let's just go, let's modernize it, let's make it a show for the modern age.
Last but not least.
So, I, as we've discussed, I'm not really like a horror person, but I love Halloween. It's kind of a funny dichotomy. I love Halloween because, like, going to a haunted house allows me to experience the fun that comes with fear, but in a really controlled environment. Like, I can scream, I can be startled, but I don't have to be, like, truly afraid. Like, I'm not being followed down a dark alley, you know? So, I gotta find, when I'm looking for Halloween media to consume, I have to walk that fine line of, like, is this gonna be fun scary, or is this gonna be nightmare scary? And so I was looking for something to binge watch. So I was looking for something older to watch, but not necessarily old, but something that had run its course. And I put on Salem because I like witches. That's one Halloween thing that in general I don't find too scary. I find fun. Witches are cool. Whatever. Except Salem turned out to be, like, I think I watched like 4 episodes, and I had to stop because it was so unhappy. There was no joy anywhere in this show. And so, has anyone here seen it?
I just know someone that worked on it.
I've heard of it, but that's about it.
It had really cool billboards.
Yeah, I remember its advertising campaign was always good.
I remember those billboards, yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, I'll give that a shot. But it is, like, without getting too much into the plot, it is actually about real witches in Salem. But everyone is unhappy. The witches are unhappy. They're only hurting the townspeople because the townspeople hurt them before they were witches. So the townspeople, like, all of the characters are unhappy. No one ever smiles. Ever. I don't think I saw a single smile on the shows. Okay, so there's no joy in the characters. It's Puritan New England, so there's no joy in, like, really the production design or, like, the costumes. Because I was looking for something to like. And there's an episode where there's this poor girl that's possessed, and they say they're going to do an exorcism on her, and they don't at all. I don't know why. They just sort of brush over the fact that they don't actually get to the part where they're like, devil be gone. They're like, she needs an exorcism, and then they go, and they look at her. She's all chained down and screaming, and they're like, well, this sucks. Well, yep, that's the devil in her.
Your trial version of exorcism has ended. What do you choose to do?
And so, like, she's not a main character or anything, but things just get, like, progressively worse for this character, and so, like, sort of off to the side. So I started to watch that character thinking maybe there would be some joy for the actress playing this really over-the-top person that's possessed. And there's a part where they decide, like, I know how we'll find the witch. We'll take the girl who's possessed, put her on a leash, and walk her through town on all fours, and she will just snarl at people, and then when she gets to the witch, she'll react. Which doesn't work at all, because the witch is just controlling her discreetly from a distance the whole time. And I'm watching this, like, horrible scene play out, and I was like, nobody's having fun. Even this actress isn't having fun. Like, there's a way to do that that's enjoyable. And I peaced out and went back to watching Hemlock Grove.
I love Hemlock Grove.
Thank you.
I've
Nobody
never
has
watched
seen
it.
it.
I know.
Well, and it also ties in really well with tonight's theme.
It does. We should move on to today's movie,
Yes.
which is a fun movie with fun violence and all amazingness. An American Werewolf in London, if you had forgotten already. But before we do anything, we need to do a breakdown.
I've got to put on my wolf hat.
You do.
Oh yes,
Are we ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, so An American Werewolf in London in 30 seconds. Here we go, go!
Two best friends are hiking through Britain, and they get told not to go out on the moors, don't leave the road, and they do. One of them dies, the other does not die. He wakes up in a hospital in London and starts having horrible, horrible nightmares. Then a nurse weirdly takes him home, avoiding, just completely disregarding every red flag he gives her, and eventually he dies a horrible death in the streets of London. Womp, 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 womp.
He also becomes a werewolf.
He also becomes
Oh yeah, I skipped that part.
Well, with the exception of missing out on he's a werewolf, I'd say that was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fast-forwarding
It's implied.
through. Yes, it's implied. That was
Yeah.
what all the red flags were. The
Yeah,
part
that's
where
what-
Otherwise, God, that movie is just about a guy who comes to London and then gets murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, his
I mean, it
trip to
kinda
London's
is.
not good.
Yeah, he has a bad trip to London.
He gets to have some what appears to be really good sex.
Like, way
Yeah.
too long sex. That scene went on forever.
the shower scene.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Fun
the whole
fact,
thing.
that scene was supposed to go longer. They cut it down.
They cut it down.
We don't need it.
You know what's
Too
funny?
much.
They had to cut it because test
It
audiences
wasn't
fell
even.
asleep.
It wasn't even that great. It was just like pretty
Well,
generic sex.
was.
So I looked up a lot of the behind the scenes stuff on this one. That was one of the ones where apparently it got way more rambunctious, and they said get rid of all of that. So they
What?
just left in all the vanilla stuff.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
I can't believe
man.
I
Instead
forgot
they were-
to
instead
mention
they were
he was a werewolf.
Instead, they were just hugging in the shower
Yeah,
and then
we're
hugging
hugging
in bed.
in
And
the
they're,
shower.
it's like they're very friendly people.
And we saw her boob for like a second.
Yep.
Didn't even notice.
It's a very vanilla sex scene. And
Yeah.
actually, the violence is really toned down, too, but that's also because they wanted to get that R rating. Because when it first went through, it was very not R.
I wonder if there's
Way
a
beyond R.
copy of that
There is not.
NC-17 somewhere.
There is not.
No.
It's upsetting.
I know that you guys we don't necessarily have to go through the movie chronologically, but
Sure.
like I made notes when we watched it the other day, and something about the beginning that I was really curious about was, do you guys think this is the first time that the villagers have killed someone? I guess it must be because they're so conflicted about it.
What
But,
I
like,
think happened is I think it's the first time they've killed somebody who's not from the village.
but is that
I don't think they killed him on purpose.
No.
No,
Well,
but-
well,
well, or at least is
That
that
guy's just really
they
weird
didn't
about
save
missing
him
a
on
shot.
purpose. I mean,
yeah.
But no, I from the way I've kind of understood it, like I've seen this movie, I want to say over 100 times at this point.
Good Lord.
I love this movie. But what I get about that town is that the town is well aware that one of their neighbors is a werewolf, and they all just kind of hide on the full moon. And the werewolf might kill other people in the town, but as long as it all stays contained in the town, they're okay. They don't want anybody fucking with their business because it's their town. And that's kind of what I've always taken away from it. So these two guys coming in was really a problem because they didn't want anybody there, and they just dealt with it the worst way possible.
See, I figured like they just waited out the night, and maybe the werewolf would kill some sheep or something, and
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
would stay indoors and understand, and then he wouldn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
and it was all good.
Yeah.
And then Bill just turns back into him like, sorry about the sheep, guys. Like, that's okay, Bill. And
Yeah.
then,
We just hung out in the pub with our pentagram.
yeah.
How
And,
did, how did Jack or whatever his name was keep saying it? He said it
he
some
kept
weird-
saying it wrong, though. I don't remember. He did not want to say
He
the
like
word
saying
pentagram, though.
pentagram or something.
It's very much a computer's way of saying it, like a Siri would say it
Yeah.
that way. Like a pentagram. It's like,
what is
what?
he saying?
Almost like they're saying Pendragon, but not.
Yeah, close. But no, I like the whole opening with the friend, but it is kind of. I think it probably is the first time they've ever killed somebody and allowed somebody else to get away.
Got it.
Because I think the problem was
definitely.
that they didn't kill David. I think that's why they were upset because they were like, oh shit, we should have just killed him.
The other guy was really upset because he missed a shot.
Yeah, he overreacted.
And then he started to feel bad about it rather quickly as
They
well.
probably also just killed their friend. Like that's probably why
Oh,
they
yeah.
let it. They let it go
Yeah.
on because they were like, "Well, we don't want to kill our buddy," and then they had to kill him, and it was like, "Well, shit."
Yeah.
How many undeads do you think were hanging around their town?
Yeah.
Like undead sheep.
No undead anything.
All the undead sheep are in like, the tavern, like,
Bah!
Guinness, please. Bah!
It's very much like what is it? Is it Innsmouth from the other Cthulhu stories? Like, isn't that the name? It reminded me of like the town
Sure.
that all Cthulhu stuff takes place in. I think it's Innsmouth.
I don't remember.
I think
I honestly haven't read a lot of Lovecraft.
Pentagram
Yeah, I know, right?
in the mouth.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's spelled Innsmouth, but I'm pretty sure if you're not American, you say it differently. So I was like, I don't know.
That's kind of true for everything, though. We pronounce everything stupid.
That's true.
Yeah.
You give me we don't.
Don't disparage America, Brian.
I will.
Yeah.
Yup, we say things stupid.
We said things right. I'm trying to think of where to move on.
Can we talk about the nurse?
Yes.
There's so many
Please.
things to say about the
Please
nurse.
talk about the
Yes.
nurse. That lady has
That
some issues.
beautiful,
That's a whole
beautiful,
other story.
wide-eyed nurse.
Dude, she gets him
who's
home.
also very horny for men. She just,
But she gets him home and immediately tells him every dude she's ever fucked and why. That's so weird.
She's an odd duck.
she doesn't seem too bright. Honestly, she's just really pretty. She takes him home. She has multiple dolls of Mickey Mouse in her living room.
One Minnie.
I started counting them.
She has 2 Mickey and 1 Minnie.
One Minnie and a Donald Duck.
Oh, I forgot about the Donald.
And I'm just like, this is weird. And so many florals. They put florals
There
all
were
over her fucking
florals
place.
everywhere.
Oof. And
And her TV's in a weird spot.
What
That really
year
annoys
was
me.
this movie made?
81.
Okay, so
81?
the florals should have been done by then.
Well, on a similar note, I looked up when it was supposed to take place, too, because I felt like everything was taking place in present day for when it came out, except her outfit at the hospital. She looks like, I don't know, like a World War II nurse or something.
yeah.
But I looked it up, it's supposed to be the 80s. Maybe.
really
she's a sexy nurse.
Yeah.
But she's a
sexy, stupid nurse.
She's a sexy nurse who brings home mental patients, essentially.
Here, let me list all my red flags in chronological order.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bang.
And then,
let's bang.
and then she decides to chase after the werewolf form of him in front of the gun militia.
How
and
they
then
didn't
start
shoot
yelling,
her.
I love you. And I'm
They
like,
can
you
curve the
guys have
bullet.
known each other for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
2 weeks. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question, too,
Yeah.
is how long does this movie, like, what's the time frame? Because he changes 2 nights in a row.
He's supposed to have been in a coma for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so she didn't know him when he was in a coma,
No.
though. Although
No,
maybe
no,
she-
but the one nurse
yeah.
did peep at his dick a couple times.
Yeah, right?
So we got
And she
that news.
probably would like constructed stories about him in her head. 'Cause-
kind
Yeah,
of
she's kind of like the nurse from Arrested Development
That's
when
what I was
Buster
just
goes into
thinking.
coma.
Oh, how could we be together? Oh, you're awake, you faker.
Yeah, that's the same nurse. She's a little bit more forgiving. She's like, oh, well, he woke up. I will marry him. I love him.
I love that where he's just like makes out with her and then or kisses her. I really want to make out. He kisses her and then he's like, "I'm a werewolf," and she's like, "Come home with me."
Yeah!
I kind of love how direct everyone is in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's like the exotic foreigner to her or something.
I'm sure he is, but I think like what you said is right. I think she just constructed this whole story, and she's so sure that she got the story right, that he's just a nice man that needs help. That no matter how many times, even if he's not really a werewolf, the things that he said, he's like, I'm gonna hurt people, and she's like, come sleep in my bed. It blows
I mean,
my
just
mind.
everything from like, oh, my friend was here. The friend that was dead?
Yes.
Yeah, he was just here talking to me.
You were
Yeah,
just
we should bang.
screaming,
This is a
honey.
good idea.
Oh, and then one of my favorite moments in the whole movie, I did not catch the first time I saw it, because I've only seen this movie twice, I think.
98 more times to go.
When he's home alone, about to turn the werewolf, and she's at work, and there's the one little kid that goes, no, at her a whole bunch. And
I love the
she's
no
just like,
kid.
I remember the exact line, but it was
Have
something
you been
like,
beaten
have you
upon
been
the hands and
beaten,
face? Or the
yes,
neck and face,
beaten
something like
in
that?
your entire body. And he just goes, no! And then the scene's done.
The kids in this movie were assholes. Like, all of them.
Did she just threaten this
Yeah.
child?
Yes.
Like I said, she's an odd duck.
She's a whole other movie in herself. From the,
Yeah. She
And I-
reminds me. Do you guys ever see Singles?
No.
Okay. Again, I'm older than you. But the Singles was like the movie for 90s kids. And Bridget Fonda plays this chick who like does this whole speech one time while she's like, I used to have this huge list of what I wanted from men and all these things, and she goes to list them, and and one of the things on the list was they say bless you when you sneeze. And then she just goes, and then as time went by, my list got shorter and shorter until now I just want a guy who says bless you when you sneeze, or Gesundheit, but bless you's nicer. And then at the end of the movie, like Matt Dillon says bless you, and she just looks at him like, yay! That's like this nurse. That's what I kept thinking of, this whole nurse. She's just like, he made cute faces at me on the subway. Yay! I'm in love with him. That's the minimum requirement.
I mean, yeah, because otherwise this doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense to begin with, but it's kind of what I've always enjoyed about the movie. She's just kind
really
of
horny.
Well, but he's a dullard too. Like, it's not like he's the smartest tool in the shed. Like,
he's just a goofy dude.
Yeah, he's an idiot who became a werewolf and he doesn't want to deal with it. I mean,
oh, they told us to stay on this road. Oops, we're not on the road.
Right?
That's the line.
yeah, I mean, the one thing he gets right is like, all right, we want to ask him about the star on the wall. Don't ask him about the star on the wall. That's the one thing he does right in the whole movie. He's like, I agree, we probably shouldn't piss off these random townies.
Yeah.
That seemed very on edge.
Yeah, well, of course they're on edge. Their friend is out like waiting to kill them.
Yeah.
We've only had that one experience once, and that was in Wisconsin.
Fuck Wisconsin.
Wait. When you're in Wisconsin, people try to protect you from a werewolf?
No, it's just I needed to pee once on a road trip,
then you
and
met a
it was
nurse?
like 11 o'clock at night, and
Dudes, I'm a
we
werewolf.
ended up going to a legit biker bar in the middle of Wisconsin.
It was awkward. We were not welcome.
This is when you pee in a field.
We were like definitely the city folk that just walked in.
And then I'm left by myself while Chewie goes to the bathroom out in a bar with a bunch of people like, the fuck is this guy?
You have a beard. You think they would have respected that?
I didn't have as long of a beard then. It was much shorter.
Yeah.
And they were all wearing like cargo pants and
And like
camo.
Harley vests. And
Yeah.
it wasn't the right place. Anyhow, American Werewolf in London.
So part of the reason this movie was so fresh in my mind was because, and like, brace yourself, because Jason and I watched the new Mummy movie. Has anyone seen it?
We did an episode
yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get to be on that episode. I had things to say though.
But you can tell exactly why this was fresh in my mind then, right? Dead Best Friend?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, that was... I watched
Totally
that
lifted from this movie.
Yeah, completely. In fact, I was reading the Wikipedia
By
page
Nick from New
for
Girl.
American Werewolf, and the Mummy is like referenced as like they pulled heavily from American Werewolf.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
It's
Except the humor
even the
did not
double-decker
work.
bus.
Yes, but you know
When the Mummy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what makes Werewolf, and what absolutely, I mean, there was so many things wrong with the Mummy. You guys did a whole episode. I don't need to get into it. But like, really, what for those characters' relationships, the biggest difference is that Jack and David are actual like fun to watch. They have good friend chemistry.
Yeah.
They tell silly jokes. Even when they're first like walking through the rain together in the dark and they're like laughing, they've just been kicked out of the pub, and I'm like, how are you not like furious at each other right now? Because they have such good friend chemistry. It totally works.
Yeah, you totally buy them as friends the whole way through. Even when he's dead, like they're telling him to, like, one of the, I think my favorite scenes in any horror movie of all time, when all the corpses are telling him how to kill himself.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. But I like it, like they're getting like more and more violent, and the guy's like, hold on, he's a friend of mine. Like, I love that they even have like, even like, you are the reason I'm still undead, but they're still buddies. Like,
Yeah.
John Landis was there's a whole interview with him you can kind of read. I found like kind of snippets of it, and they talk about how they directed Jack, because apparently when they first got on set, Jack wanted to play it really kind of creepy and spooky. He's a ghost, and like, no, you need to be in a good mood the whole time. You're having a fine day, and you just happen to be undead. Yeah. So just play it really kind of cavalier, and that's what they went with, and it just made one of my favorite movie characters ever. Because I love the scene where he's like, the first time he sees him, he's just got all of his skin still hanging off him. It's like flapping and gross, and apparently there's a deleted scene where the piece of toast falls out of his neck.
Yep.
But that was too R-rated.
I was looking up stuff about Rick Baker, the special effects artist, and he was saying that when he first designed that character, he was like all covered in blood and gross and whatever, and that the director was like, no, we still want him to be Jack under there, like we still want the character to come through, so that's why he's all like cleaned up.
That makeup job and the just
Yeah.
like
Incredible.
Oh, it was fucking,
I forgot how good it was.
It looks so, and it like this was before we had so many of the tools that we have today. I mean, I just kept looking at scenes, going, God, how the fuck did they do that?
He's the first guy to win an Academy Award for makeup for
They
this
did
movie.
it slowly, as
Oh, yeah.
Brian also
It
looked.
sounds
Oh my God.
terrible.
Yeah.
Sounds like an awful process.
The transition scene alone, it just sounds like the most grueling filming experience
I wonder
ever.
if that took him a whole week to shoot.
I didn't look up how
Just
long,
like
but I
that.
know it took, because each
Was it stop motion?
no, well,
It was
no.
like a combination.
It's
sort of, wasn't
no,
it?
there's no stop motion. It's all either mechanics or it's makeup. So every time you see him, that's a whole day's worth of makeup.
Oh my god.
So like when he's like partially transferred, like that was a whole day. He had to spend 10 hours in a chair getting partially werewolfed. And come out for one shot.
But then they didn't just do that shot. Like he would like get into the scene, and then they'd shoot it, and then he'd freeze, and they would add a little bit more, and then they'd shoot it, and he just had to keep staying frozen
until they got to like the bigger transition. So like,
I'm just thinking about being crew on that day when everyone's just like, this is so boring.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name. The guy who plays David. Famously said when sitting in the chair for the makeup, it's like going on a plane to nowhere. Or I think it's like sitting on a plane and you never get there. Something like that. But
also, apparently, the guy who played Jack was like super bummed, which again, to his credit, I don't think comes through at all. But I was just researching for the podcast, and apparently he was like, the actor was like, "Oh, it's my big movie break. Like this is gonna be like the big thing." And then when they started putting the makeup on him, he became like visibly depressed, and they basically, they're like, "What's wrong?" And he was like, "Oh, it's nothing." And they're like, "What's wrong?" And then basically he was like, no one's gonna want to hire me for anything after this because I'm just gonna be like the gross guy covered. And even if you watch interviews like with him now, he's like, yeah, it wasn't great. It was a lot of makeup.
He was so funny.
I know.
He's so good in it.
That doesn't
like,
come through
so
at
good
all
in it.
to
Yeah,
his
no.
credit.
Even like the voice acting he has to do with when the animatronic version is
Which
there.
looked awesome.
Looks so
Yep.
good. If they do the remake, if it actually does happen, I really hope they keep that one animatronic because Max has said he will keep everything as real as possible.
Was Max doing it?
Yep, he said the only movie of his dad's he'd ever remake would be this
Interesting.
one.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Then the funny parts will be over the top.
Yeah, and to John Landis' credit, when Max asked for advice of, so what do you think I should do when I'm making American Wolf of London? He said, "Don't do it." I love John Landis. I want to talk a little bit about that Piccadilly Circus. All of it.
Yeah.
Just basically the last, I don't know, 15 minutes of the movie?
Yeah.
It has my favorite shot of the werewolf transition, which is not in the apartment, it's in the movie theater. It's when the claws start coming out of his fingertips. I just love that.
I just
so
love when he
good.
starts writhing. I'm like, everyone else in this theater right now thinks he's just getting a little too into this movie.
Good lord.
Like, this is the most animated masturbation ever.
And it's like, calm down, man. Be cool. We're all doing the same thing.
Well, and when I watched this again, I was much more impressed by the second time he started to like struggle against that because it looked and felt painful seeing that in the theater when he was transforming, and in the scene we all know still looked painful, but this one for me just felt more visceral and felt more horrific.
The way that I've read it before is that the first time he's going, I don't know what's happening to me, and it's just happening. The second time he's trying to make it not happen.
Okay.
So he's trying to fight against turning, which is why why the second one's so much more painful because he knows what's happening now. He doesn't want it to happen.
Yeah.
Which I think it actually plays because you can tell they're two very different things.
Yeah. There's a great moment in the first transition that I made a note of where he's laying on his back and he's pretty deeply into the transition and like the song is playing and it's just a great moment of him looking down at himself and just screaming and it's so well done. Also, I also started keeping notes as I was watching about the score because there's almost no music. There's no background music. It's very, very low key. And I should have, if I were to go back again, I'd make clearer notes about where the music comes in. But I think it's really only in like when he's transitioning or like the porno scene.
Yeah.
Also, that porno is hilarious.
It was.
Every time. I did not notice last time.
And he's like, "How do you do this?" And she's like, "I've never seen you before in my life." He's like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, okay.
It's amazing.
I just love that's punctuated by
I wanna
good
watch
movie.
that porn.
I was so like, "This movie's awesome."
It's not a real porno. They shot it for the movie. I looked that up as well.
Yeah,
But
they
it
said it
adds
was
to
the
the humor.
first thing they shot.
Yeah. And the thing was, the girl who was in it was not a porn star. She became one after this, though.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the money people must have sent to her and be like, do it?
Yeah, no kidding.
And I love that like in that porno they're also hugging in the same way that like
Oh yeah, still
yeah.
really
it's the same
vanilla
exact
sex,
thing.
yeah.
It was just
But
like
more boobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more boobs. The funny thing about the porno scene in this is it was supposed to be cartoons. It was supposed to be a Looney Tune
yeah.
theater, yeah. Because he wrote this movie when he was a kid, and when he went to Piccadilly Circus, it was all like family theaters. And then when they came back for the Tech Scout, they're all turned into porn theaters. So he's like, oh, well, I guess we're changing that.
It's the 80s, or sorry, the 70s.
Yeah.
Back when,
I'm sorry.
porn was cool.
I mean, it owned Times Square too.
People
so.
had real body parts
Yeah.
and full bush.
It was the closest porn ever got to being truly mainstream.
Yeah.
I won't read it all because Brian really just summed it up, but I actually pulled that whole quote from John Landis about how the city had changed because I really liked it's a long paragraph, but it opens with cities are like children. You turn away for the briefest time and they've completely changed. The London of Werewolf has probably disappeared now. And then he talks about how when he wrote it, it was supposed to be Looney Tunes and then it was porn. And
I wonder what it is now. Right?
I mean, I haven't been there since like 2005, so I'm guaranteed it's different. It was just tourists.
McDonald's and Starbucks.
Yeah, that was
I definitely went when I was there a few years ago, but that's mostly what I remember is like McDonald's and
it's kind of like it's like Times Square.
I would rather it was still porn then. At least that's interesting. McDonald's is not interesting.
Families don't show up for porn. There you go.
And you can get porn on your computer in the privacy of your own home now.
Or you can go to the McDonald's in Piccadilly Circus and watch porn on your phone.
That's what we're going to do. When we go to London, that's what we're doing.
But more about that Piccadilly
Bringing it
Circus.
back, guys.
I love how the movie is like so restrained throughout the whole way, where it's violent but not super violent, and then when it gets to that last sequence, it just goes fucking nuts. Like it's such a when Chewie and I were watching it, we watched the last half of it again today just because she wanted to like follow up on her quote. And we're watching, it's like, this would not fly today. Like, if this movie came out today, this would never work.
No.
Like,
Specifically the ending for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's bleak. Like, it's just...
Which is so interesting because the movie is such a sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's such a weird... Like, it works, but it shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that does laugh during that entire sequence, though, because, I mean, damn, that one thing happens... And apparently no one knows how to drive anymore.
Right?
Everyone, it's like they're all just slamming on the gas, zooming into the other cars. Like no one's hitting their brakes.
At least somebody should swerve for the wolf.
Right? Yeah.
Just one person.
Come on, guys. There's no way you don't see this before you get there.
And that particular scene out in Times Square, or like that area, reminds me just of... Because I'd once watched this movie after like the Blues Brothers. It's like a double feature.
Okay, yeah.
And very much both those in the third act just go off the rails and just go completely bonkers. And I forgot that watching this time around. I was like, okay, he just swerved and hit a guy, and then he went through the windshield, and then some guy got ran over by two cars, or was it two sets of wheels?
Right?
All like just to swerve.
Just one after another.
So many people get murdered by just the cars.
And
the cars kill more people than the wolf does.
Yeah.
The wolf bites one guy's head off, and then that's kind of it. And then he's
Didn't he murder? How many people does he murder in that movie theater, though?
Oh yeah, he does go nuts in the movie. I mean, when he's actually out in in the square.
Yeah, the wolf does relatively little damage other than that guy's head, and then everyone else just overreacts. And I think that's my favorite part of the movie.
There is overreacting.
Yeah, I don't think
didn't
that's
murder like a lot of people in the movie theater.
Yeah, I mean, people
And
would freak
also
out
that
people would freak out if there's a normal wolf, let alone a man-sized wolf running around biting heads off.
I feel like there'd be like one less car accident.
I love to see it now. If you did that nowadays, though, everyone would just be like phones out.
Oh, yeah,
out,
definitely.
Video.
Yeah. You know, so I mentioned to my boss that I was going to be talking about this, and this just kind of came up. So he is 20 years older than me, and then his son is 20 years younger than me. His son is like 10.
Okay.
So the three of us were all in the car talking about this movie, and William, the son, had just seen it for the first time, and I was super interested to hear his take on it. And he's kind of shy, so it was like very few words, but with some prompting, we talked about the ending, because I was like, you know, what did you think of that? And he was just like, well, I just thought that like he was gonna find like an island he could go live on. Like he thought he was like, I thought they were gonna like find a cure, or like there would be like a quarantine somewhere, and
nope.
I feel like if they made it today, that might happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they did in American Werewolf in Paris, which I swore I wasn't going to talk about in this thing, but they figured out a way to cure each other, and it's horrid.
It's like specifically the ending of this movie. Every time I watch it, it's jarring. Every single time, especially because it's such a happy song at the end. Yeah. And I just don't think that ending would fly today. Whether or not they'd even let them do it, if they did let them do it, I think everyone would hate it.
It's so abrupt.
But you can kind of see why, like, Sam Raimi says this is one of his favorite movies of all time. You can totally see that influence.
Oh, totally.
Like, it's just that same sense of humor of, like, it's
kind
horrible,
of like,
that's why it's funny. Like, look at how bleak it is. Aren't you
the
laughing?
music, but you just mentioned the song, like the music cues all being about the moon and playing over like really dark shit, and you're hearing this like really funny like happy like ha 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 the moon is cool song, and it's just it's such an awesome contrast.
It's kind of like the Coen brothers today, with their sense of humor and how there's such a divide on people that like Coen Brothers, and then people that just hate everything they do, and particularly because of their endings.
Well, yeah, they just have a very kind of twisted sense of humor, which John Landis was famous for. It's one of those. Like,
that's why I just feel like today, if this movie came out today and was completely new, no one knew anything about it, I feel like I'd have a lot of friends that would bitch about it.
Yeah. And that's why I think a remake is a horrendous idea. Even if it's done by Max Landis, at least it's the same family, but still, it's just like, we don't need...
Yeah.
I would be very
perfect.
curious to see the Max Landis take on this. 'Cause it's going to be different. It'll be very Max. It's impossible for him to not be Max.
Oh, yeah.
Can we have the guy from Chronicle play him? David?
Dane DeHaan.
Yeah. I really like him.
So do I. I think he's great. I don't know if he'd be a good David.
I don't know.
Is he?
I just like him. I want to be in more things.
He could give good pain face.
Is he American? I honestly don't know, because if he's not, then that kind of...
is he an actor?
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely an actor.
Is he a real person? Does he really exist?
I'm pretty sure he's a CGI creation.
Does he look like
cheap.
Leonardo DiCaprio's younger brother? Yes.
Yes, he does.
Now I want to make a movie with that. It's like Looper 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Hiding a bear.
Another fun thing about this movie that I just like bringing up fun facts, because I'm so obsessed with this movie. I just love the way it's made, and to that point where I love it so much I don't even know where to begin to talk about it. I love that after he transitions the first time and he wakes up in the wolf den, they couldn't figure out a way to do that safely, so they're like, well, we're just gonna do it then.
Yeah.
So he had to get naked, get into a cage with wolves, and then climb out of it.
Oh boy.
I love that he was a talking bush.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Oh my god, that was so because it just came out, and I was like, oh, that's a weird little kid walking up with balloons talking to somebody he can't
bush.
see.
And the poor kid, a naked American man.
I'll give you 2 pounds.
Why would a talking bush give me 2 pounds?
Well, just give me the balloons and I'll show you.
Oh, that's so creepy sounding.
Yeah.
Oh, like when you know the context, okay, but if you didn't know the context of
Right?
that scene, which is why it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like and when he runs away naked, the kid kind of looks into it.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
And that's the beginning of that kid's sexual
So
awakening.
you're saying that the kid is related to the nurse?
I don't know, but the kid definitely
This was a horrible
looks into
situation.
it.
I'm into it.
Let's bang it.
Mommy, a naked man took my balloons and now I'm having strange feelings.
What?
Oh, her what is so good. What?
Man.
I did laugh a little too loud at that, and I watch these movies late at night, so I have to be very careful with that.
See, so now, did anybody here see it for the first time now, or do you guys remember the first time you encountered it?
I feel like I might have seen it, but I don't remember some of the scenes, so maybe I only watched part of it.
You just caught clips of it?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, because I'm always kind of curious of a movie like this, because it's kind of like, it's not in the same vein of like Star Wars or something like that, but it's like a movie that like everyone has seen. At least most people I know. So I'm always kind of curious if you remember your first time.
I had never seen it before I dated you.
Okay.
And I don't really remember the first time you made me watch it. But
I know it was in this
You
apartment.
made me watch
it was.
Yeah.
There's a good chance I fell asleep then.
I think so.
Jason hasn't seen it yet because there's no good night for me to be like for me personally to be like, hey, let's watch this movie. It's going to be really fun till the end when it's not. You know, like that's never like a good date night.
Just put circus music on while everyone's crashing their cars.
Right? The Benny Hill theme.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
See, that's great for me because like Jandy and I went on a date to see Enter the Void, that Gaspar Noé movie. Yeah, it was a date movie.
Everyone keeps telling me I'd hate that movie.
Probably would.
I still haven't seen it because Chewie doesn't want to watch it. I'll get around to it.
Everyone tells me I'm going to hate it.
Everyone tells me I would love it. Dilemmas. Anyhow, so my first time with this one, I watched it with my cousin Matt, and I love my cousin Matt, and we were both just kind of watching it, going, "The fuck is this?" Because like this is still kind of my transition period when I was still like a little afraid of horror movies, but I'd seen the one that kind of made me turn the corner, so I was now kind of enjoying horror movies.
What was that?
I watched The Exorcist and Halloween like back to back, and it was like if these are the scariest and they didn't really scare me, I can watch anything. So it was kind of like a mind game. But I was still kind of like, I'm cool, I can watch them. So I watched it with him. And we had no idea what to make of the sense of humor, like because it's so weird. Like you watch all these people get murdered over the course of a night, and then he wakes up and it's a silly guy stealing a balloon from kids, and it's kind of funny, and he's in a really good mood. And
Can we talk about that? We didn't talk about that yet.
yeah, let's
The
go
deaths.
for it. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, the loving engaged couple.
Those poor people.
No, they're just having the time of their life. They're like, it's so funny. We're gonna go scare our friends in the back. And then they're getting eaten, and then they're like, there's hooligans in the park again. And I loved that entire sequence.
The only one that I wish we gotten more of the old guys getting killed, because I know it was cut for violence, but I wanted to see more of that because there was just really nothing there.
The dog that just leaves and be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
But we got more of the wolf howl, which I really like because it doesn't sound like any other wolf howl in like any other movie.
It sounds like agony.
Yeah, which I like.
Do we know anything about like how that sound was made? Like what?
I never looked into it. It was one of those things where I kind of don't want to know because I like it. It's
Maybe
like
it is someone just in agony.
Well, it's like the new Godzilla scream. They will not say where it came from, but they have said that it is a very common sound amplified, but they won't tell you which sound it is.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That's like when you know that the Velociraptor sound is actually turtles having sex.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Pod racers are a electric shaver held underneath a metal bowl.
Interesting.
That sound is awesome. Just don't make me edit it.
But what was the one that actually scared people was the dude in the subway. Everyone says that's the scariest scene in the whole movie.
Oh my god! I hadn't seen this movie in like several years. I don't remember the first time I watched it.
Right.
But probably the second time I watched it was like 2011. I remember whenever the supermoon was. I remember being like, I'm gonna watch American Werewolf.
It's a fitting movie.
So, but in 2015, I found myself in London. And I found myself like getting off the train in Tottenham Square Court and was like, "Oh no, oh no, I know this place."
It's weird because I still wasn't afraid of that one. I was just
that's
like,
the
this guy needs to get.
scariest.
I'm watching it. I'm like, this guy needs to get better at running.
Yeah, he does. He really just kind of lays down and lets
But
it.
haven't you ever been in like one of those echoey, never-ending subway tunnels where like there's nowhere to go and there's nowhere to hide and
No.
you never like in Chicago, like what is it, Jackson? There's that long tiled.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
yes.
from between the red and the blue.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
scary.
It's scary if you're by yourself, but if you're in there with 1,000 other people,
Yeah, I
which you
guess.
usually are.
Yeah.
It's just
I
annoying.
don't get scared by stuff like that, I guess.
Well, imagine there's a werewolf after
I
you.
just every time I go into a hallway like that, I'm like,
Moving at 2 steps
this
per
is
hour.
so cinematic. This would be great for a zombie movie. but I don't think about anything actually happening to me.
Well, that's because there's no werewolf chasing you.
Oh, I need a werewolf to chase me.
And then
And then I'll tell it I love it and expect it not to hurt me.
Oh, look at how big and fluffy you are.
That might happen.
I like how that business guy biffs it completely on the escalator and just such a like, all right, you got to make it look like you're doing it on accident.
Yeah.
Like you got to make sure it looks like you goofed up.
I thought he knocked himself out when he fell on that escalator.
No, he rolls over.
He lays there for a good like 5 seconds.
And then it's
might
5
be
seconds of
stunned.
going, I'm going to fucking die now.
Yeah. I could see being stunned.
And I also love for some reason, I always forget that you actually see the wolf's head come into frame. I always thought you just saw his paws, but you actually do see him start coming into frame.
Yeah.
It is kind of too bad they never built the back half of the wolf.
You know,
Just front half
That
only.
would have helped.
do what you can.
I'm being chased by half a wolf.
Yeah. I mean, chased by half a wolf in a wheelchair?
Is that what was driving it?
It isn't the Piccadilly Circus
Oh,
thing.
poor
the
little
wheelchair.
Fluffy got hurt.
Is there anything else we haven't touched?
There was a Halloween costume though
Oh
for
my
anybody
God.
in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Behind the scenes American Werewolf in London.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Not everyone would get it, but those who did would be like, "Holy shit!"
I mean, for the record, if I'm ever in London for Halloween, I'm 100% doing this costume. One thing we haven't touched on though is Frank Oz.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just if like speaking of not knowing what to make of this movie.
Yeah.
When that guy opens his mouth and Fozzie Bear's voice comes out, you're like,
It was so weird.
The thing is, like, I'm so used to Frank Oz now. Like, because I've seen so many photos of him and interviews with him and so many things now that when he showed up, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. And he starts talking like, man, you sound like a Muppet.
And I just saw like the Muppet
Is he
movie
a
the day
man
before.
or is he a Muppet?
Yeah. He's a Muppet of a man.
and apparently I just haven't seen enough John Landis movies because I wanted to know why, so I dug. And apparently he's just got cameos in a bunch of John Landis
yeah.
movies. That's just a thing.
Yeah, he plays the jailer guy in Blues Brothers, doesn't he?
Yeah, Frank Oz is just, he likes showing up at his friends' stuff.
Don't we all?
Yeah, he's just a cool dude.
Yeah.
It was really weird to hear him swear, though. I was like,
Yeah.
come on, Fozzie, don't do that.
Well, but then on top of that, they throw the Muppet Show into like
Oh,
the
yeah.
horrible night. But that's something we haven't touched on.
Oh,
but
the nightmare.
I just try not to
Fucking
think about
nightmare.
it. I don't like it at all.
I forgot.
Do you not
that
like it because it's creepy, or do you not like it just in the theme of the movie?
No, I don't like it because it's just like terribly unpleasant.
Oh, it's super unpleasant.
Yeah.
It's unpleasant, but I do appreciate the werewolves as Nazis, just because
Why,
the SS were supposed to be like wolves.
The reason why
upsetting.
I like it is because it's supposed to be showing just his mind just going fucking insane and trying to scare him, and it's the scariest thing imaginable of werewolf Nazis showing up and murdering his whole family. Like, it's a very creepy and unnerving sequence.
Definitely. But
and then it's capitalized by the dream within the dream.
Yeah.
Because I remember when that first happened, watching it with my cousin Matt, it happened, and then we both went, "Ah, shit!" And then he sits up in his bed and goes, "Ah, shit!" We're like, "Ah, that's the greatest movie ever!"
It's also really great from a storytelling perspective because, like, that way when Jack shows up, you're like, wait, this is a hallucination. You assume it's a hallucination because he's been hallucinating, and then you start to realize, wait, maybe this isn't a hallucination. So it kind of throws you a little bit out of whack as far as like whether or not you can believe what you're seeing, which is what he's experiencing.
That's actually the best explanation I've heard for it so far, because like I think we can all come up with our own theories as to like why the dream sequence was included and why it was what it was, but I'm really curious why it was what it was. Like, I would love to hear, like, if anybody knows if there's some sort of concrete answer out there, like, what the fuck?
I think it's a question for John Landis.
Yeah, but has he answered it somewhere else?
I don't
Someone
know.
else must have asked him this question.
I'm sure at some point he might just be like, "Because it's creepy."
Yeah, I guess.
It's a fair answer. It's not a really helpful answer.
Wanted to actually scare some people.
Yeah.
It was the worst thing I could think of.
Yeah, because the other things that I find fun that John made him do in those dream sequences when he's running naked through the woods, they shot this movie intentionally in February and March because they wanted it to look shitty, and then apparently he had to get naked and start running in the woods. He's like, "It's fucking freezing." Like, yeah, run like it's warm. It's like, how am I supposed to run like it's warm? It's freezing and I'm naked. Run like it's warm. So they had to keep redoing it because he kept looking cold when he was running.
Oh man.
Reasons not to be an actor.
Shrinkage, guys. There's shrinkage.
Something else, two werewolf changing scenes that I had sort of conflated in the years since I last saw this. So it was good to go back and watch them separately. Has anyone here seen the UK version of Being Human?
Yes.
No.
I watched.
You watched the whole
a
thing, didn't
decent
you?
amount of it. I don't remember it very well.
I watched it. I fucking love it.
I really loved it too, and I was thinking about there's a scene where the werewolf changes in the apartment, because like the premise of Being Human is like a ghost, a werewolf, and a vampire are roommates, and the werewolf, I think it's the first time he changes, and the vampire takes the TV and goes to wait outside to make sure the TV doesn't get broken. So he's like outside hugging the TV on the street. But the ghost is like, well, you can't hurt me. I want to see this happen. So she like stays to watch the transformation, which is obviously it's CG. It's not nearly, it's nowhere near this level, but it was still just like, I like that twist on the werewolf transition where she's watching, and eventually, even though she's a ghost and she can't get hurt, she gets so scared that she like runs out of the flat.
Huh.
But it definitely like borrows from the transition within the flat, and I just thought it was worth mentioning because it was, like I said, I couldn't remember. There were a few shots where I was like, which one was that from? And
Yeah, because he also just like screams a ton and like fights it every time. And
I had to turn the TV volume down because I forgot I forgot when exactly it was coming, so I had the volume up because it was getting kind of quiet.
Oh, and it really comes out of nowhere. Like,
it does.
Like you'd almost expect like a swell of music or something, but because like she mentioned, there's no score. It's just he's reading a book and then, God, why? And it's
I'm burning up.
yeah.
And of course, I couldn't find the remote anywhere for a while. So I was like, oh no, I'm that neighbor.
Yeah. I think the other werewolf sequence that people say is the best is from The Howling, but I'm not a big fan of The Howling.
You know what? However much Twilight's dumb, I did like I'm a sexy man, I'm gonna take my shirt off, and now I'm a wolf.
Yeah, I hate that.
And I'm nice, and you want to ride me, and I'll marry you, blah,
and
blah, blah.
fuck your baby. It's
Yes,
a
and
terrible
fuck your
franchise.
baby. Oh, Twilight. Oh, Twilight.
I don't know. I wasn't on board for any of that.
on the aforementioned Hemlock Grove,
Yes, I was gonna bring
he
this up.
like bursts out of his
it's so
human
gross.
body, and then when he becomes a wolf, he just eats his body.
Yeah, it's so
And that way,
gross.
later on, he has it when he turns back into a human.
Oh, so he just pukes it up and climbs back
I
inside?
don't know. They never show that part.
Yeah, they never show him turning back into a human. But yeah, there's always the scene where he eats himself.
Oh.
And it's there's also in season 2, I want to say, there's a great sequence where he needs money fast, so he tells these guys, I'm gonna sell you the best drugs ever. Here, let me he's like, I'm gonna sell you these great gypsy drugs, because he's a gypsy. So he gets like the 2 guys from the drug dealer to come over. He gives them the drugs, whatever, placebo, whatever it is, and then he half changes into a werewolf in front of them. And there's something where he bursts through his own face and gets like all up in there. Oh, it's amazing. And then he pulls it back and changes back into a human and is like, hey guys, what's wrong? Well, you look a little scared. I was like, great use of werewolf transformation.
Would totally do that.
So
I mean, why not, right?
I'm pretty sure it leads to his like horrible demise or something along. Or it's supposed to. It's
Yeah.
You're not supposed to.
That
do
show did not have a happy ending for like anyone.
anybody.
That
But
show
still
actually
so
ended?
fun to watch. Yeah,
It was
it
like
had,
three seasons, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first half of season 1 and then for no reason at all stopped watching. It was just one of those ones where like I just never went back to it.
It was definitely not. That was pretty much in the early days of Netflix getting
It was the
shows.
second
and that
major
was,
show, wasn't
like, That was like probably their least popular of the shows that they released. Not everybody watched it, but enough people watched it to make.
I know it was super early. It was like it's like in the first 5 of like
Yeah.
their major shows.
It's definitely something I recommend watching in Halloween. It's real fun,
Oh,
and
it is
I
fun.
I don't remember the endings very clearly, which is good because I want to rewatch it, like the ending. But it's worth like rewatching, and I liked where it took the characters.
And you get to watch Famke Janssen being just fucking evil on every level,
and her accent just fluctuates.
Oh, it does.
Like she has the worst accent.
There's also this guy who plays the doctor who ends up just every line of dialogue is these insane vocabulary words, and he runs through them so fast. Like I tweeted that at him once. I was like, I can't believe you can get through this dialogue, and he's just like, "Yep, I practice."
Brief shout out to the doctor in this movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
talk about that guy.
But
Doctor's
we don't
the only smart person in this movie.
He really is.
Yeah.
And he actually like just full on detective work, figures out what's going on.
Yeah.
And then was just like, well, just stay in your office. He's like, I'm the only person who's figured this shit out, guys.
All
Yeah,
my
it didn't really
nurses are
help much.
dumb.
Yeah.
My nurses are horny.
nurse.
They're looking at penises. They're taking guys home.
Yeah, and so he might be a smart guy. He's terrible at hiring people.
He does.
Scotland Yard. We got the jerk and we got the doofus, and I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Doesn't he say to her at one point when he's asking about Alex and she's like hesitating, he says something like, I don't care who you take to bed or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, that's like kind of feminist. Thanks, dude.
Or he's just given up.
Yeah.
I'm going to hope it's Mari's, but it's probably yours.
Yeah.
You fucked another werewolf.
She just keeps taking him home.
God, my nurse took another insane person home.
Yeah,
I have the
right?
worst fucking staff.
Which Universal monster is it this time?
Yeah.
I think it's time for quotes. I think we've kind of round the drain on this one. I'm going to go first with my quote so that nobody takes it, but it's a very important quote. It's when he realizes that he murdered everybody and goes up to the cop and starts trying to get the cop to arrest him. And the cop gets mad that he's swearing in front of him and tells him there's no use of that sort of language. So I use the last one of his because he insults basically everyone he can think of as British. And his last one is great where he goes, Shakespeare is French. Fuck, shit, cunt, shit. It's just such a great line.
Mine is from the guy in the subway. Because he's so British.
He's just so British.
He's just standing in the subway. He looks a little nervous. He just yells out, I can assure you that this is not in the least bit amusing. Oh.
He didn't even. You gave that more inflection than he did. He
I
was
know.
just so matter of fact.
So British. It's such a British thing to say to someone who's about to kill you.
Yeah.
Mine is from when he was making his first transformation, and he just yelled at, because it dictated like the absurdity, the way this was played for humor, despite being horrible. I love when he yells out, "I didn't mean to call you a meatloaf, Jack."
Yeah. Mine is kind of near that scene. As he's transitioning, he's like, oh no, hold on. It's his friend. He's talking to his friend, and he mentions, have you ever talked to a corpse? It's boring. I'm lonely. Kill yourself, David. And just this shift threw me off guard. I was surprised by it because I haven't seen this movie in a while. And I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, and his attempt at killing himself was super lame.
He was
First
never
of all,
going
the
to do it.
knife
It's
was
like a
going the
butter
wrong
knife.
way.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. I shouted out, like, we're watching with all my roommates, and I shouted out, like, it's down the street, not across the road, dumbass.
Yep.
And nobody said anything, and I was like, well, I'm an asshole.
No, you're not. I said the same thing.
She really did.
All of my favorite quotes that I listed are all from The Nurse. The first one I wrote down was, I'm torn between feeling very sorry for you and finding you terribly attractive. And I just wrote, what the fuck, lady?
She would totally be a pen pal for a serial killer.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, he's very excited and confused, but he's not crazy.
Dear Dexter Morgan, I love you.
And then the last one is just like, I pulled the whole scene, but it's just where he says, like, oh, I was dreaming about my dead friend. And she just goes, do you have a place to stay in London? And like she clearly
not participating.
Just not listening to anything he's saying. I imagine that in her mind, she literally doesn't hear him, and she's just imagining what she wants to hear, and that's why they're just having two different conversations.
That's the only thing that makes sense. That or she's just really wants to fuck crazy. Which, as I was telling, we were watching with Chewie, and I'm like, you know what? No judgment. Guys do that all the time. If she wants to fuck crazy, she should go for it. And she did, and it didn't really turn out that well.
You know what, though? I was just talking to someone about this. This just came up with a guy I was talking to, and I was like, yeah, that, but it never happens the other way. And he was like, yeah, because crazy dudes murder women. And that is totally relevant to her situation.
Yeah, if those cops hadn't been there and been able to curve bullets.
Yeah,
right?
She needed therapy before this happened.
100%.
Like, honey, you're attracted to the wrong type of guy.
Yes. Yeah. So review system for today. I actually don't have one locked and loaded, so I can't go first. But it's movies with stupid main characters.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Clueless.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
Why?
Immediate. Because it was a film that's very contained in its own little world. A lot of the characters are dumb. But they're also endearing. And they're just trying to get through life, and sometimes they make bad decisions. And they get oddly attracted to each other, even though, they're brother and sister. Not by blood, but they're brother and sister. Early Game of Thrones type of stuff,
Season 1 incest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, it's really
Get
funny.
you a man who can be both.
It's really funny in its own way. Like, Clueless, you could watch it and just get really annoyed the whole time. But, I don't know, it's got, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't really have dark humor. But,
That works, though. Yeah, I liked it.
It's the first one that came up.
I have one if somebody else doesn't.
Yeah.
Original Evil Dead. I already kind of mentioned it earlier, but
Ash is an asshole.
Well, Ash is an asshole for one, but for two, it's like, hey, look at this book. We shouldn't read this book. We're going to read the book. What? Why? It's their stupid decision after stupid decision, and everyone dies. So, it fits.
I'll do Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, I was just going to do that one.
Yeah.
Damn it. I don't have a backup.
Just because they kind of bumble through the story and just all the bad stuff just happens around them, and the deaths just go out of, like, they're bonkers. Like that whole scene with the werewolf out of the theater.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, I'm having a really hard time with this one. I'm
me
gonna go for Battleship. Because this chicken burrito scene is so stupid. And he is so stupid. And then he proceeds to just be dumb the whole movie. And I love it. But god damn it, you guys.
It would be funny if you and I tried watching that together. Because you'd be giggling, and I'm just going to be on the couch moaning like I'm dying.
See, you guys are the MST3K I want to see.
For sure.
Why? Why are you doing
the
that?
same things that you hate, I love for the same reasons.
I know, and a lot of things I love, other people hate.
It's very true.
I'll watch Down Periscope right now. No one else will.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Last but not least.
This is really hard. I'm not good at spontaneity, and
know.
Jonathan totally stole the one thing that popped into my head. This is too off the cuff, so if you have hate mail, please don't send it.
I would love hate mail.
But
Send it to Chewie instead.
Yeah.
Just don't do the rape stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, so on a similar note, I just saw the original Blade Runner for the first time.
Okay.
And I kind of did not care at all for Harrison Ford's character, and there was some stuff that he did that I was just like, that's dumb. That's bad police work. Like when he finds the sequin in the bathtub and he's like, I'm going to stick my hand in that. Like there's a lot of stuff like that. I don't know.
There's a lot of reasons why that movie had terrible reviews when it came out. That brings today's episode to a close.
Woo!
We survived.
We did. Let's see. Next week we have... My glasses
Oh, we didn't talk about the bending bullets.
I mentioned curved bullets like
You
3
mentioned it
times.
twice.
You just
okay.
completely ignored me.
Sorry. Sorry, honey.
It's okay.
Angelina Jolie was somewhere.
She was training.
Yeah.
So next week, as of right now, we still have Devil's Rejects, but I still need to get that confirmed. It might be something else. So you can watch it if you want to. I don't know. It might be something completely different, but we'll find out.
And then it's Monty Python.
And then it's I
Ooh.
don't know if it's Monty Python.
Well, you said something completely different.
That's okay. That's
Why does no one ever I say that no one understands my
because
reference?
you don't say the full quotes, and now it's time for something completely different.
Because it's
The larch.
whatever.
And even I got the quote wrong, but still, either way. And then after that, we have November, which will have movies in it, and I don't know what they are yet. But I think it will. One of them will be the second.
Movies with turkeys in them.
I never know what to do for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
But I
they
always
could
like
do
to one.
Son-in-Law again.
Never again.
Come on.
I know at some point in November, I will be doing the second movie to win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. At some point in November, that one will be there.
What movie is that?
I don't remember.
It was
off
a
the top of my
musical.
head.
And then Jandy told us it's not that great.
Yeah, Jandy has told us the movie is horrible, so that'll be exciting.
Yay.
Which one?
I don't. The second one, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's
cool.
what Wikipedia
Someone
is
somewhere
for.
is yelling at their.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Headphones
You
right
call
now.
yourself a movie podcast? What the fuck? Sorry.
We watch moving pictures with people in them.
Dude, that would
What do you
be-
expect?
Like if you did a spoof sobriety test for different people and you did sobriety tests for the film nerd, instead of doing the alphabet backroads, you have to do chronological Oscar winners.
Ooh, I'd fail that every time.
You're drunk.
I'm just drunk all the time.
You only listed one movie. All right, cuff me, officer.
That's the one I remember. Okay,
By
so
the time we're done with this whole process, we'll all be experts on all of them.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
So quick round of plugs, or a plug round of quicks. We have a website. It's www.athpod.com where you can find
cool.
everything about our site. We also have a Facebook fan group page thing that John set up. What's it called?
You mean the Fun Times community?
There it is, Fun Times Community.
Yeah.
Totally forgot the name of that thing. I'm a great host.
I made it long so people would forget it, which is totally anti-SEO.
Sounds like a really good pitch for it.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
actually very
it's-
angry at
it's the-
Facebook when I made that group. So
It was a very it was great.
Yeah.
It's actually a fun site if you go to it, but it's just a pain to remember the fucking name of it.
right.
Mari, do you have anything you want to plug?
I think I'm still just going to be plugging my fashion line, Different City on Etsy. Yeah.
Saw that
Go
you
ahead.
recently sold out of the Go Away shirt, or No Go Away.
Yeah, I had some handmade, hand-pressed shirts that said "No, go away."
Nice.
I have a different style, which I'm not sold out of. So if anyone is in the market for a shirt that says "No" or "Nope" or "No, go away,"
They're cute.
also just started carrying athletic tank tops, so like little cute crop tops, and I got a good Halloween one that's all like black and white spiders. So
Very nice. So check that out.
Yeah.
And that's everything we got. So thank you very much for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.